Welcome to Dragon Horde Gaming, and in today's video we'll be opening a Silverquill Statement Commander deck. Alright. This is what the back of the box looks like. Alright. A little disappointed that you don't actually get a full-size card, and even if you cut this out, it's not the same size. It's a bit disappointing. Alright, that slid right out. You've got this thing here, which I'm not exactly sure what... Yeah, there's no point for... Well, what is this? A divider? And you got your punch-outs that could be used as counters. Okay. And at least could have made the fake card on the front one. Oh well. I will be cutting that out later. Alright. Here we go. There's the deck. There's a spacer. There's a commander there. There's a life spin down cardboard crap. Alright. Commander, how to play commander, and probably some info on the story of the commanders. Yep. Yeah. That. And you got how to play commander on the back side. Just gonna go back in the box. Alright, so here we go. Garbage here. Got our tokens. Then we got the weird, overthick fake card with... Oh, it's etched. That's etched foiling, not normal foiling like this one. See? Well, it would have been nice if they gave you a normal etched card rather than card it's same size, shape, except for it's 3 times thicker. Okay. Alright, we got Brina the Demagogue. Cost 3, generic, white and black. Flying. When the player attacks one or more opponents, if that opponent has more life than another of your opponents, that attacking player draws a card and you put 2 1/1 counters on a creature you control. Alright. Didn't really go over the tokens very much, did we? The whole back of these zombies, Inkling tokens. Okay. Alright, we got the other choice for commander with Felisa, Fang of Silverquill. Cost 4 to generic and a white and black. Flying Mentor. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, if it had a counter on it, create X tapped 2/2 white-black Inkling creature tokens with flying, where X is the number of counters it had on it. Alright, we got Secret Resin. Red. I am horrible at reading. Fracture. Silverquill Campus. Study Hall. Elite Scale Guard. Ghostly Prison. Martial Impotence. Impetus. No, whatever. Risk Explorer, Oars of Avacus, Soul Snare, Vow of Duty, Ambition's Cost, Curse of Disturbance, Parasitic Impetus, Arcane Signet, Bloodthirsty Blade, Mind Stone, Orzhov Signet, Soul Ring, Spectral Searchlight, Baron Moor, Bajuka Bog, Command Tower, Myriad Landscape, with new art, I think, yeah. Opal Palace, Orzhov Basilica, Rogue's Passage, Secluded Step, Combat Calligrapher, costs 4, 3 generic and a white. Flying, Inklings can't attack you or planeswalkers you control. Whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, that attacking player creates a tapped 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying that's attacking that opponent. Guardian Archon, costs 6 for generic 2 white. Flying, as Guardian Archon enters battlefield, secretly choose an opponent, reveal the player you chose, you and target permanent you control each gain protection from the chosen player until the end of turn. Activate only once. Niles Discipline Enforcer, cost 3, 2 generic and a white. Beginning of your end step, for each player, put a 1/1 counter on up to one target creature that player controls. Each creature with one or more counters on it can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless its control pays X, where X is the number of counters on that creature. Promise of Loyalty, cost 5 for generic and a white. Each player puts a vow counter on a creature they control and sacrifices the rest. Each of those creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control for as long as it has a vow counter on it. Scholarship Sponsor, cost 4, 3 generic and a white. When it enters the battlefield, each player who controls fewer lands than the player who controls the most lands searches their library for a number of basic land cards less than or equal to the difference. Put those cards into the battlefield, tap, then shuffles. Author of Shadows, cost 5 for generic and a black. When Author of Shadows enters the battlefield, exile all cards from all opponents' graveyards. Choose a non-land card exiled this way. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. And you may spend mana as though it is mana of any color to cast that spell. Bold Plagiarist, cost 4, 3 generic and a black. Flash, whenever an opponent puts one or more counters on a creature they control, they put the same number and kind of counters on Bold Plagiarist. Cunning Retort, cost 3 to generic and a black. Whenever an opponent attacks you or one of your planeswalkers you control, exile the top card of that player's library. You may play that card as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it is mana of any color to cast it. Feign the Broker, costs 3, 2 generic and black. Tap, sacrifice a creature, put 2 counters on target creature. Tap, remove a counter from a creature you control, create a treasure token. Tap and sacrifice an artifact, create a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. Pay 4, 3 generic and black, untap Feign the Broker. Incarnation Technique, cost 5 for generic and black. With Demonstrate, mill 5 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. King Duelist, cost 2, generic and a black. Beginning of your upkeep, you and target opponent each reveal top card of your library. You each lose life equal to the mana value of the card revealed by the other player. You each put the card you revealed into your hand. Okay, that could be misinterpreted and could kind of makes it sound like you're putting them both in you that control this creature's hand instead of putting it in their owner's hand. Stinging Study costs 5 for generic and black. You draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the mana value of a commander you own on the battlefield or in the command zone. Ink Shield costs 5 through generic, a white and a black. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you this turn. For each 1 damage prevented this way, create a 2/1 white-black Inkling creature token with flying. I think that should have been printed as a mythic, not the rare. Tempting Contract costs 4 generic. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent may create a treasure token. For each opponent who does, you create a treasure token. Angel of Serenity costs 7 for generic and 3 white. Flying, and when Angel of Serenity enters the battlefield, you may exile up to 3 other target creatures from the battlefield and or creatures from graveyards. When it leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to their owner's hands. Aureus Charger costs 3, 2 generic and 9 white. When it leaves the battlefield, choose an opponent who controls more land than you. Search your library for a number of plains cards equal to the difference. Reveal them, put them into the battlefield tapped, and the rest into your hand. Then shuffle. Citadel Siege cost 4, 2 generic and 2 white. As it enters the battlefield, choose Khans or Dragons. Khans, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 2 counters on target creature you control. At the beginning of combat on each opponent's turn, tap target creature that player controls. Duelist Heritage costs 3, 2 generic and white. Whenever one or more creatures attack, you may have the target attacking creature gain double strike until end of turn. Gideon, Champion of Justice, cost 4, 2 generic and 2 white. Put a loyalty counter on Gideon, Champion of Justice for each creature target opponent controls. Till end of turn, Gideon, Champion of Justice becomes a human soldier creature with power and toughness equal to the number of loyalty counters on him and gains indestructible. He's still Planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. Exile all other permanents. And that basically kind of just resets the game, doesn't it? Haunted Lamasus. I have never heard of this creature before. Cost 4, 2 generic, 2 white. Flying, when Haunted Lamusu enters the battlefield, target opponent creates a 4/4 black horror creature token. Knight of the White Orchid costs 2 white. First strike, when it enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more land than you, you may search your library for a plains card, put it into the battlefield, then shuffle. Oblation costs 3, 2 generic and a white. The owner of target non-online permanent shuffles into their library, then draws 2 cards. Selfless Squire costs 4, 3 generic and a white. Flash, when Selfless Squire enters the battlefield, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn. Whenever damage that would be dealt to you is prevented, put that many 1/1 counters on Selfless Squire. Stalking Leon, cost 3, 2 generic and white. When it enters battlefield, secretly choose an opponent. Reveal the player you chose, exile target creature that's attacking you if it's controlled by the chosen player. Activate only once. Sunscorch Regent, cost 5, 3 generic, 2 white. Flying, when an opponent casts a spell, put him on counter on Scorched Regent, you gain 1 life. Together Forever, cost 2 white. When enters, support 2. Pay 1, choose target creature with a counter on it. When that creature dies this turn, return that card to its owner's hand. Tragic Arrogance, cost 5, 3 generic, 2 white. For each player, you choose from among the permanents that player controls an artifact, a creature, or enchantment, and a planeswalker. Then each player sacrifices all other non-land permanents they control. Windborn Muse, costs 4, 3 generic and white. Flying, creatures you can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. Satalpa, Primal Dawn, cost 8, 6 generic, 2 white. Flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, indestructible. Deathbringer Regent, cost 7, 5 generic, 2 black. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand and there are 5 or more other creatures on the battlefield, destroy all other creatures. Infernal Offering, cost 5, 4 generic and black. Choose an opponent. You and that player each sacrifice a creature. Each player who sacrifices a creature this way draws 2 cards. Choose an opponent, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then that player returns a creature card from their graveyard to the battlefield. Necropolis Regent, costs 6, 3 generic, 3 black. Flying, whenever a creature you control dies, deals combat damage to a player, that put that many 1 counters on it. Deathbringer Liege, cost 5, 2 generic and 3 hybrid black-white. Other white creatures you control get +1/+1. Other black creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever you cast a white spell, you may tap target creature. Whenever you cast a black spell, you may destroy target creature if it's tapped. Debitor's Kneel, cost 7 for generic and 3 hybrid white-black. Bidding your upkeep, put target creature card from graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Magister of Worth, cost 6 for generic white and black. Flying, Will the Consul. When it enters the battlefield, starting with you, each player votes for grace or condemnation. If grace gets more votes, each player returns each creature card from their graveyard to the battlefield. If condemnation gets more votes or the vote is tied, destroy all creatures other than Magister of Worth. Tessa, Envoy of Ghosts, cost 7, 5 generic, white and black. Vigilance, protection from creatures. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, destroy that creature. Create a 1/1 white-black spirit creature token with flying. Utter Inn, cost 4, 2 generic, white and black. Exile target non-land permanent. Coveted Jewel, cost 6 generic. When it enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards. Tap, add 3 mana of any one color. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls attacks you and aren't blocked, that player draws 3 cards and gains control of Coveted Jewel. Untap it. Pendant of Prosperity, cost 3, generic. When it enters battlefield under the control of an opponent you choose. Pay 2, tap, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand into the battlefield. Pendant's Prophecy, its owner draws a card, and that player may put that land from their hand into the battlefield. Victory Chimes. Cost 3 generic. Untap Victory Chimes during each other player's untap step. Tap. A player of your choice adds colorless. Cave of Colas. Taps for colorless or taps for white and black, and it deals 1 damage to you. Exotic Orchard. Add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Ryoko, Center of the Sea. Taps for colorless. Pay 2. Tap. Each player draws a card. Temple of Silence. It enters battlefield tap. When it enters, scry 1. Tap for white and a black. Tainted Field. Taps for colorless. Taps for white or black to activate only if you control a swamp. Temple of False God. Add double colorless. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. And then onto the plains, swamps. Alright, that was the Silverquill Statement. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like, and I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.